Odd Conduit Media.
What's it gonna be?
You are now listening to the
Hyrule Podcasters! Rumble, rumble. 3, 2.
Hey there, all you hooters! Welcome to another episode of
Hyrule Podcasters!
podcast of the Windfish.
I'm your co-host Ben.
And I'm your co-host Pat.
On this audio-only Let's Play, we venture through each game in Nintendo's Zelda franchise.
You got that right. We're pretty practiced gamers, but we're not experts or purists. We're just playing each game start to finish.
And this season, for the final time, we're playing Link's Awakening DX.
DX! DX!
DX.
I wish they would have made like a Mountain Dew DX to go along with this game.
Well, you know, we're kind of playing Link's Awakening DX Code Red version with our little
We are. Code Red. Oh, what a terrible drink. Remember all that flaming hot Mountain Dew we saw?
I don't, but that sounds atrocious.
Do you ever like not want to finish a video game, so you like put it off and then you never finish it?
Yeah, I think I did that with Skyward Sword. That may have also been because I was having trouble with kind of the motion control there at the end of the game. I most recently did that more from like self-preservation, playing Elden Ring about a year ago, where I'd played like 55 hours in 2 weeks.
Oh
and
my
was like, I gotta
gosh,
stop.
dude.
And then coming back to a video game that intense after a couple weeks off, you're like, oh wait, how do I play this game? And so I'm still stuck on the Fire Giant for any of you that played at home.
I feel that I feel like I never want a video game to end, you know, and so I'll put off finishing it. Like I'm sad that this is ending, even though I could just pick it up and play it again. And I've played it so many times, but I've probably played up till this point in this game a bunch of times. I also will put off finishing a game because I haven't collected all the things, but then, you know, I just let it get away from me. I forget the map and then I don't finish it. So I was talking to a friend of mine recently, who was bummed.
Shout out to friends
that he didn't ever finish Breath of the Wild. Now, I think that Breath of the Wild,
like beat Calamity Ganon.
Yes.
Like, is that what he means by beat?
yes,
Okay.
and that's what he meant by it. And I think that game is designed in such a way. I know that a bunch of people say it's the perfect game, but I feel like it's designed in such a way that it doesn't like give you the impetus to want to finish the game the same way that other Zelda games give you. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. It's there's definitely like you can beat this game, but there's also just like a vibes version of the game.
Yeah. And I don't know if it's necessarily a flaw, but I didn't feel super rewarded in the same way that I feel rewarded when I beat other Zelda games. And I think it's just like the lack of the dungeon structure and...
You're a dungeon boy.
I'm a dungeon boy. I like dungeons.
You like them dank, you like them dirty, you like them underground.
I do. Been in the basement my whole life.
Like, don't send me to the sky. I don't want to go to the sky. There's no dungeons in the sky.
What
is this?
What you trying to tear up
What is
the
this,
kingdom
upside down
for?
world?
Making me go up there. I'm trying to go underground. Come on.
Oh my goodness.
But you know, again, I hesitate to call it a flaw of the game.
Sure.
It's just a different kind of
Absolutely.
game. And I haven't played that many open world games, so it's a new format for me. But I basically was like, it's cool, dog. A lot of people haven't beaten Calamity Ganon that have put years of their lives into Breath of the Wild. We're finishing this just in time to play
Just in time.
Tears/Tears of the Kingdom,
Tears.
which we've talked about. We're not going to do a podcast on quite yet. Do you have any games that you're going to play or finish up before you start playing that game?
I feel like you're trying to delay us finishing this game right now.
We don't have
That's
to
what it
finish
feels
playing the game if you don't want. We can just talk.
Let's finish it right now. I got the sticks. We're jumping in.
Jumping in. Let's do
Here
it.
we go. All right, so we are outside of Turtle Rock, and we were told to go to the egg.
Turtle Rock. I
I'm
love the
gonna
little
pop down-
nubby feet coming out where there used to be a face. Ben has full health. He's zapping baddies with his sword Zapparunski. He's slicing up the moblins. Are those moblins?
Yep.
So it looks like Ben's going to travel south through the woods. He's retracing his steps. And what a great game. I'm bummed to see it end, but I'm excited to watch you play this final section of the game. So I'm sure we have a couple things to do.
Guardian Acorn tried to get me.
Sure, we have a couple things to do before we get to the egg itself. Maybe say goodbye to some villagers. Maybe
Villagers.
we could restock some stuff. I know we're a little low on arrows. And there was a book in the library that gave us a hint that we need to go review because I just kind of skipped right by it the last time that we were
Dark
in here.
Secrets and Mysteries of Koholint. Do you really want to read it?
Yeah.
Round and round, the passageways of the egg.
All right, so we got left up, right up, right up, right up. I actually didn't do that correctly. Pat, edit it out. Left up,
Not gonna happen.
right up, left up, right up.
What are you talking about?
All right, we're going to use them.
Yeah, so this is a hint that will come in very handy when we are inside the egg of the windfish. It looks like a whale, but lays eggs, so it's not a whale, it's a fish.
All right, so yeah, we were told that's I had remembered seeing that earlier when Patrick was in there. That it was the passageway of the egg, and figured we should refresh ourselves. We're also a little low on some items, and first we're going to see though what good old Orira has to do.
Yeah, what do you have to say, good old Orion?
Hello!
Hello! This is Elvira speaking. Goopy, it's time for you to face the egg. Up there on Mount Tamaranch. Be careful, Goopy. Thanks, Elvira. Bye, click. Very helpful. And then maybe we'll go see what... No, we're not going to go pop in there. Want to go fishing? I know you love fishing.
Definitely not. Woo-hoo-hoo! My Bow Wow is so proud of his fine fur coats. All right, well, she doesn't say anything.
Nothing cool there.
Nothing cool there. All right, well, let's stop by the shopkeep here.
The oldie shop, eh?
Hopefully he has some arrows. Le Chape. So we got 10 arrows for 10 rupees.
Can we exit and get more?
We could, yeah. Oh, let's see what Marin has to
Oh,
say.
yeah, that's our buddy. Thank you for everything. Goopy, you are the kindest boy I know. One day I made a wish to the windfish. What was the wish? It was a secret. I'm not gonna tell you. Ha 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 ha.
Dude, you're asking me when we started to live on this island? What do you mean by when? Whoa, the concept just makes my head hurt.
I feel you, dog. What is time?
Totally. It's a flat circle.
It's a flat circle.
Well, Patrick,
You watched that season of True Detective?
I've not. I
What?
actually never finished the first season.
What? That's a great season
Alright.
of television.
I know. And I'm sure there's probably like a gazillion podcasts that I would love to listen to after each episode. It's probably the perfect television show for me. And I just refuse to watch
Why?
it. I'm pulling a you, I feel like. I'm pulling a you.
Why do you refuse
I
to
don't know.
watch
I'm just
it?
doing it just to do.
Just to do
I
it?
don't. It was more just.
Life got in the way.
I actually would really like to watch it.
Yeah.
All right, so we're headed north.
Oh, wait. What about the photo store?
You wanna see how we did?
Yeah, to see how we did. I know that we didn't get every photo, but, you know, we could just look through them real quick. Travels of Goopy.
All right, so we're looking at our album. All right, so we got 7 of 6. Sorry, 7 of 12.
All right.
9 of 11. All right, so we got our first one where we're holding up a peace sign.
Very cute.
We got number 2, which us and Marin by the cliffs.
Marin by the cliffs.
We got number
On the
3, which is Marin falling on me.
And you look like a monkey in that one.
We got number 4, which is Taryn, Marin, and I. We're both looking pretty grumpy.
Yeah, what's going on there? Why are we mad at Taryn?
Number 5 is Orira, chatting away on the phone.
Sneaky, sneaky.
Number 6 is us running away from Bow Wow after accidentally striking him multiple times.
After striking him.
And number 11 is us and our Ghost Boy Boo friends.
Ghost Boy Boo Friend. So we did a pretty good
old
job.
Ghost Boy Boo friend.
Goopy 1
I'd
got
say
a couple
so.
pictures we didn't get, but, you know. Going to the egg.
All right. Well, here we go up the steps.
So the egg is closed. There's no way in. Wonder what we're going to do.
So we're going to pull out our ocarina, and we're going to play Marin's song.
Here we go. Rocking out.
Ah, the instruments appear around us, and we get the full orchestration.
This is a jam. What a dope track. Yeah, buddy.
Just vibe with it. Everything starts shaking.
Oh, get an earthquake,
Oh.
and it busts open.
Hoot hoot! The time has come! The windfish awaits! Enter the egg! Hoot hoot!
All right.
All
Thanks
right.
for letting us know, Owl. So here we are in the windfish's egg. And it's just dark.
So it's a dark room.
Braziers that we can't light because they're above us. Braziers,
Oh!
and we fall down a pit.
All right.
And now we're just in an
And we're
empty
gonna
room
follow-
with a cool design on the ground. It looks like hand weights or bones.
Hand weights our bones. I like that.
So Ben is using the...
All right, so we're going to follow our guide from earlier.
Which is, you know, something that maybe
Navigating the
new players didn't know what you were supposed to do.
All right, we got the good music. We
Oh,
got
and now there's a pit to drop down. Here we go. Ben is equipping. What are you equipping, Ben?
All right, I'm going with the sword and the rock's feather.
Okay.
Here we go.
We were born of nightmares to take over this world. We made the windfish sleep endlessly. If the windfish doesn't wake up, this island will never disappear. We would have been the masters of this place, but you had to come here and disrupt our plans. You can never defeat us. Let's rumble.
Oh boy. We are now facing Deathel, otherwise known as the Nightmare. He's a giant blob. So for this first form, Ben, do you know what you're supposed to use?
Oh, I bet you use magic powder.
Yeah, so you got to sprinkle magic powder on the giant blob.
There we go. That worked.
Okay. One. Ben, this blob is just disappearing and reappearing and moving around the screen rapidly. And it's kind of like a shadow. Let me know when you... Oh, he's sprinkling.
All right, there's 3.
Okay. Now we have Aghanim's Shadow. So, Aghanim, you might remember from A Link to the Past. Right? He was the wizard that flung magic at us and we hit it back. So it's that same
Which is exactly what we're doing right now.
projectile knockback with the sword. And occasionally we'll hit one that turns into, it looks like an X and it turns into a bunch of harmful stuff. And you can't bounce that one back. So this Aghanim does not use lightning or summon clones of itself. The shadow is just a little more basic, but Ben is still having some trouble. He's gotten hit a couple times. He's zooming around the room as Aghanim
There we go.
moves about
We hit him 4
the
times.
room. So we hit him 4 times. And now the Nightmare will turn into Moldorm's Shadow, which is basically a silhouette, a harder version of the the normal Moldorm. And like Moldorm, you just gotta hit it in the tail. All right, and now we have Ganon's shadow, which is pretty freaky, because, like, why is Ganon's shadow on this island? Why does the nightmare have a memory of Ganon, of Aghanim? All these questions, unanswered, up in the air.
So
Ganon has the...
we hit Ganon 6 times, and that took him out.
Yeah, the bats.
Now he's got like a snake boy going after us.
And the spinning spear. Yeah, his next form is Land Mola. Right? It'll chase you real fast around the room. Be careful.
Yeah, I can see
keep
that.
running.
All right,
Do you know what
so
to equip to beat
my
this
sword
one?
is not helping, so I'm gonna... Oh, there we go. Okay, one hit did that, so I put the magic rod on.
Magic rod. So Deathel is up next. So this is the nightmare's, I guess, root form. A black blob with tentacles that have eyes at the end. And the tentacles swing around and Ben has to hop over them and shoot this thing in the eye. Ben's doing a pretty good job, although he has lost about half of his hearts. This thing is pretty terrifying, and I gotta say, Ben is down to 2 hearts. Oh my gosh. Ben might not make it out of here alive. Goopy's dodging. He has 1 heart left. And he's hopping, and he does another jump. He still only has 1 heart left. Oh!
Woo!
And
There
just
it
like
is.
that,
This island is going to disappear. Our world is going to disappear.
our world... Wow. You did it with 1 heart left.
Goopy, you have beaten all the nightmares. Climb the stairs before you. So these stairs just appear out of nowhere,
Wow.
and we start climbing up them.
There's a cool engraving of the windfish in the middle of this room that we've been fighting in. Oh, now we're in
We're in some like psychedelic clouds.
Wow, we're like in space, and we go
Wow,
up to
how
this
cool.
platform, and there's
Hoot hoot!
stars, and here's the owl.
Hoot, young lad! I mean, Goopy, the hero! You have defeated the nightmares! You have proven your wisdom, courage, and power! As part of the windfish's spirit, I am the guardian of his dream world. But one day, the nightmares entered the dream and began wreaking havoc. Then you, Goopy, came to rescue the island. I have always trusted in your courage to turn back the nightmares. Thank you, Goopy. My work is done. The windfish will wake soon. Goodbye. Hoot hoot. And he disappears.
Bye, owl.
Wow.
Oh, and here is the windfish. I want a tattoo of the windfish. It's majestic. It's
That'd be awesome.
covered in colors and has little tiny wings. I am the windfish. Long has been my slumber. In my dreams, an egg appeared and was surrounded by an island with people, animals, and an entire world. But verily, it be the nature of dreams to end. When I dost awaken, Koholint will be gone. Only the memory of this dreamland will exist in the waking world. Someday, thou may recall this island. That memory must be the real dream world. Come, Link / Goopy, let us awaken together. Play the 8 instruments. Play the Song of Awakening. All right.
Oh, we just pull out the instruments?
They're just floating above our head in a dope circle. It fades to white. And we see the island.
Bow wow fade. We see the
Kids playing catch
kids
outside
fade
the
away,
library.
the Octorok, and the Spiky Boys
On the beach.
fade. There's Marin looking like a goofball with a toadstool. He's fading away.
He's tripping in the woods. Oh.
We got the Fox Boy and Marin,
Singing.
and the whole island just disappears.
The island that is a mountain with an egg on top disappears.
And everything starts shaking. And a huge water spurt comes up.
Oh, we're riding
We're
the water
riding
like
it
Mario 2.
through the stars, through space. The screen goes white. And we're looking up, it seems, at some seagulls and sun and clouds. What's going on?
What's going on?
Oh. And we flash and see that we're there, sleeping, holding on to the mast of our wrecked ship.
Wow, we're back in the ocean on some flotsam.
We open our eyes. We look up at the sky. It goes white. And now we're sitting there, contemplating what's just happened to us. As we cling to the side, as we cling to our raft. And a shadow passes over our face, and we glance up. And we see
The majestic
the windfish
windfish.
calling out as he passes into his next life. His next dream? We're not sure, but we're amazed at what we're seeing. A smile crosses our face. And that is our game.
1998 staff.
Oh, did you just see that in the credits?
What?
It said shopkeeper, Beetle,
Oh, snap.
all around great guy, Beetle.
All around.
Beetle's getting shout out in the credits. Let's see what's up with that.
Let's go. What a great game. Man. And back in the credits, it pans up into the sky and we see the windfish one more time as we finish off these credits. Wow. What a
There you go.
game.
Your still your favorite? Still your favorite Zelda game?
Oh, yeah. Definitely. And look at that. There's a nice picture of Marin there in the sky.
Oh yeah, that's cool. You're kind of thinking about her. That's pretty
Yeah.
nice.
Oh, she turned into a seagull.
Oh, what's that? Oh, that's what she wanted.
That was her
She-
dream.
She wanted to be able to do that.
That was her dream all along. You know, it kind of reminds me of like Little Nemo at the end. Spoilers at the end of the movie Little Nemo. He wakes up and still has like the lipstick from the kiss in the dream, you know, bringing something back
Yeah, very cool.
from the dream. So apparently the memory isn't the only thing that survived.
Yeah.
And perhaps Marin's love was real enough that it transcended. That's always the thing, right? It's always
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
the positive
like that
human
idea.
emotion that survives to cross over. So, how'd you like playing it?
You know, it was great. I mean, I think I had mentioned when we first started, I'd played the Switch
Mhm.
remaster, maybe sometime during COVID. And that's a great game, but you know, this just, you know, hits the nostalgia factor so well.
Right.
That it was just a blast and a half. Just such a great game. So fun. Characters are great. Design is great. Just a really easy game to fall into.
Yeah, I feel like it's a lot of fun to just kind of poke around the island. I truly think that it holds up. You know, one thing about the final boss, the Shadow Nightmares, or the, you know, the nightmare, whatever you want to call it. When you wake up the rooster, that
Okay.
same black blob swirls around the screen and enters the dead rooster to bring it to life.
Oh, okay.
Isn't
that's kind of
Isn't that interesting?
yeah. I don't know what to do with that piece of information.
Do you think
but
maybe
I'm glad that I know
Deathel
it.
also wanted the nightmare to end, and so that Song of Awakening has a little dark magic cooked into it?
Ooh. You've thought about this a lot more than I have, so if you think so, I think so.
I mean, I always feel like, you know, some of my best dreams are a step away from being nightmares. You know, like there's like a fine line between exciting and horrifying in such a bizarre, surreal place.
I like that.
How do you feel about the fact that the island disappears and it's all gone? I mean, we, in one way, saved the windfish from a terrible ongoing nightmare, but also kind of, you know, destroyed a whole civilization.
I mean, that's interesting just to think of the ramifications, because is that what you think is happening every time you dream, that those worlds are real for whatever or whomever are inhabiting them, and then when you wake up, all of those that dream goes away?
I mean, in
Do the inhabitants of a dream even think about it that way? You know, that's that's just their life. Like maybe that's just their life cycle is just whatever that dream was.
Right. And life cycles are an important thing to think about. I just recently watched the first episode of Bill Nye Saves the World, and he
All right.
explained that death is important for a species because our environment is constantly changing. So if we don't die, reproduce, and then die off, and then we can never evolve, right? Evolution and adapt to our environment. Like we don't, like we have technology, but we can't truly adapt as a species unless we continue to die and be reborn. And perhaps the windfish will dream another dream and it won't be inhabited by nightmares. And maybe some of those same or similar occupants will exist. You know, like in a David Lynch movie, there's a couple of them where halfway through the movie, the plot kind of changes and the characters take on new roles and they're kind of still there, but it's different. You know, just the modern human like need for a linear story. If you can kind of abandon that, I think it's a really cool thing that we were able to bring an end to the nightmare and perhaps make way for a new dream that won't have nightmares, or that'll maybe be stronger guarded against the nightmares.
Well, do you think that every dream eventually flips over into a nightmare, or do you think a dream can act like a dream in perpetuity could actually stay a dream?
Oh, I think that it's kind of a matter of perspective. I have dreams that in the moment kind of seem like nightmares, but then retrospectively, I'm like, that was really cool. Or in the dream, it's a nightmare, but it becomes kind of a just surreal, fun experience. You know, this idea of good and bad doesn't necessarily exist as distinctly, I think, in the dream world. And to answer your question more directly, I mean, a dream could just be fun. A dream could, doesn't necessarily need to turn into a nightmare. Although I will say, if I sleep like too long or too late, my dreams start to get a little stressful. You know, my mind is ready to wake up.
That's what I'm wondering. Like that's what I'm wondering, kind of like, a dream, that you're interrupted from or that you wake up from. But what if the dream, like in perpetuity, would it eventually decay? Like, is a dream going to decay over, given enough time?
Is that what that Penelope Cruz, Tom Cruise movie is about? Spoilers, he's basically signed up. It's Vanilla Sky. So he's signed up to have a perpetual dream because he can't bear he's disfigured or something. And it keeps on coming back around to being a nightmare. I think that dreams, whether they're sleeping dreams or fantasies, if you linger in them too long, I think they run out. I think that the point of a dream is that it's ephemeral, is that it comes and it goes. Much like life, but it's a quicker thing, I believe. To spend too much time in the dream world, Nietzsche posited that there are three major distractions from life, right? One being the afterlife. If you're living solely for an afterlife, for eternal redemption, then you're ignoring this life. The other being the real world, like, oh, once I get a job and once I get into the real world, like, you're alive, just you're alive as you're going to get. And the third being dreams, whether they're fantasies or sleeping dreams. And they're simply distractions in a lot of way. And distractions are fun for a moment. You watch a movie, but sometimes, binging those 3 seasons of that show instead of watching a movie is anxiety, is anxiety inducing, in small doses. Dreams in small doses, I think, are a good thing as a base layer to get you to a goal or as a distraction. But I do think eventually they inevitably turn into a nightmare.
Yeah.
So the final boss in this game is very cool. It takes multiple forms, and a lot of the enemies in this final boss battle that it takes the form of are from this game, but some of them, I mean, like Moldorm is from Tail Cave, Lan Mola, though, is from A Link to the Past. And
Moldorm is also in Tail Cave, but is also from Link to the Past.
Right. And I feel like the giant gel, it's a Zol, which
Mm.
did we see in this game? I feel like we saw Zols in at least the
you do.
color
Yeah,
dungeon.
you do. You see slimes. Yeah, you see slimes.
You see slimes, but like the giant Zol, I think
Oh yeah,
smashes you definitely in the color dungeon. Aghanim is definitely just from A Link to the Past. So
Right.
I think that's really interesting. Same with Ganon. Like Ganon, this isn't Hyrule. You know, like
Right.
Ganon doesn't necessarily exist on Koholint Island, but exists in the mind of Link. And perhaps
Right. So it's like Link is definitely filling in some of the dream.
Right.
Right. I will say that's where I kind of, was thinking about how Christopher Nolan's movie Inception,
Yeah.
and how you have like an architect who designs the dream.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have other people who then populate the dream. So the dream is populated by the subconscious of the dreamer,
Yep.
but you can create the architecture, right, of it. And you kind of wonder, did the Windfish create this architecture, create Koholint Island, and then you as Link, because you're obviously sleeping, you wake up from sleeping, are you manifesting parts of the island, into it, manifesting like the monsters and some of the creatures that like you're fighting? But there are also some like standard ones that are also there.
Exactly. I would go further and say that Link pretty much designed Koholint Island. I feel like the Windfish's dream was a lot more ethereal and less tangible before Link entered, but Koholint Island looks like Hyrule. And Marin and Terran are characters in Hyrule. Like there are so many aspects that are being pulled from Link's existence. By the time Link shows up, I feel like it's like half and half. And perhaps it's necessary for Link to have all these visions in order, or to be positing all these characters and this structure in order to work through the dream, much like we do with our dreams. We can't always face things directly. So we, assign a role of, importance, like a comforting person in our lives to help guide us through a problem or an issue. And then outside of the theory of the game and of Koholint Island, this game was a Zelda game. And how do you like make a Zelda game that still is filled with some of the characters that we know and love, and the structure that we know and love, while making something new? I feel like it's less cheap than at the end of the story, he woke up, it was all a dream. Much like, I guess, Mario 2 or whatever.
It doesn't feel cheap.
It doesn't feel cheap.
It didn't feel cheap when he wakes up. You're not like, oh, wait, that was a dream. You're like, no, the entire time you were alluding to this was somebody's dream.
Right.
And it's more like, whose dream was it? That is the interesting thing.
Yeah.
Is whose dream were you just inside of?
And I think that it's an interesting thing, because they could have just like made this weird game and have Link wake up at the end like, oh, it's just a dream. But to avoid that corny trope, why not just from the jump ask the question and have it kind of going the whole time? Really cool stuff. So now that we've played this, right, we like to rank all of the games that we've played. And since the last gameplay section of this was so short, we're just going to wrap it up in this episode here and call this a season.
We're wrapping.
Of course I love this game, but I tried to look at it through a new lens, as you played most of it, and as some of our listeners talked to us about it and we got some feedback. I think that the real charm of Link's Awakening is how they fit mostly a brand new world into your pocket, Like before you had to get the cartridge, maybe blow on it, maybe it doesn't work. You have to have a TV. You have to play until you hit a save state or keep it on. You have to go to a specific room to do this. But like the Game Boy just revolutionized the way that we can play games. And Koholint, being an island, doesn't have the privilege of like an expansive kingdom like Hyrule. But as the game goes on, it gets deeper and deeper, and with dreaming and imagination as the cornerstone concepts of this game, its size continues to grow, but you can still fit this game experience in your pocket. It's something that you can take with you on a long car trip or play after you're supposed to be asleep with like a flashlight wedged in between your ear and your shoulder underneath a blanket, which is just a brand new way to experience a game. I really love the secret seashells. I think that it's a really cool way to keep you overturning every stone, digging in every discolored patch of land, picking up all the rocks, going onto every screen, just looking for these secret seashells. I'm sure that even after people got the sword upgrade, they kept collecting and going back to the seashell mansion. It's just gives you so much room for your imagination to run wild, you know? The sprites are adorable. The music is really pleasant, sometimes scary. And then with the DX version that brings color into the game and just an astounding way.
Sure.
And the Game Boy Color's release, it like reintroduces this game, which is, you know, a reoccurring dream. And maybe the next time you have it, it's more vivid and more fun.
Oh yeah, I like that.
Right?
Yeah.
And then they built that color dungeon into the graveyard. They didn't like make a new screen or like, for example, the Mario 3 levels that you can access on the Game Boy Advance on the Switch.
Right.
You like go to a thing in the main screen and choose them, and then you're just kind of there. It took
me a while to figure out how to find them because they were just like, oh, you got to press this random button and then you got to do this thing.
And it's just not necessarily as fun as this, where you're like in the graveyard and you discover a new dungeon in a world that you've already probably explored top to bottom a couple times if you're a fan of this game, and they just like introduce it's such a cool game that keeps a young mind hoping to find more secrets. And that's what we hope from video games. There's a lot of criticism, especially when video games first started to get popular, that it hurts the imagination. But that argument was the same for books, you know, back when they became readily available. Like, you're not just making things up and playing with a stick. Like, I would say that this aids the imagination. And now that you can take your Switch anywhere, you know, and it's just like so many new gamers have a 3DS since they're a kid, or were born into a world where the Switch exists. I'm sure that some of the initial charm of this game is less novel, and you know, clearly we have like a big nostalgic connection to it, so that influences my opinion of the game. But I think it holds up really well for a new generation of gamers. And again, the remake is probably a more approachable version. The animation's delightful.
I mean, having played through this, I don't know actually.
Cool.
I think when we originally did that ranking about the best game for a newer gamer to play, and you and me and the boys over at Sacred Realms, we all agreed that it was the Switch remake. I think now that this is on the Nintendo Switch DX, that's on the Nintendo Switch.
Right.
I might put this one above, only because you don't have to buy it, right? It comes with your expansion pass that you're probably going to get anyway.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So it kind of feels like you don't have to drop 60 bones. You know, you can, this is $80 split 8 ways. It's $10 a year, you know, to get all of it. You know, in my mind, this might actually like take the cake, you know, for being the best initial game for that reason.
So I feel like we did rank the Link's Awakening remake as the best game to play if you've never played a Zelda game before. 2D Zelda game if you've never played a game before. And I think it won overall too, but
it won overall. Yeah.
I would stick with that, but I would say if you're familiar with Zelda and you haven't played Link's Awakening yet and you have Switch Online, dive into this game. Just know that like there's some text boxes that last too long, and the item inventory where you have to like switch on and off of your sword. You know, you have to be a little bit more patient with that than you're used to being with newer games. But like, again, we talk about this all the time. Like Celeste, Chicken Horse. That did we ever play that? No. There's plenty of games that have this retro feel, and I think that this is a game that just accomplishes using that old school pixely artwork just perfectly. It just looks so cool, and
Yep.
I highly recommend
Absolutely.
popping this open and at least putting in a couple hours, seeing where you get. I doubt that if you are charmed by Zelda games, I doubt that you're gonna have a hard time enjoying yourself
Yep.
playing through Link's Awakening DX.
All right, so with all that, we're come to our rankings. We've played 5 games to remind you at home. We played The Legend of Zelda. We've played Link's Adventure. We've played A Link to the Past.
Mhm.
We've played Ocarina of Time, and we played Link's Awakening DX. So we'll do this as we always do it. We'll each give our 5th and our 4th, our 3rd, our 2nd, and our 1st. Actually, let's switch it up. Let's do our 1st, 4th, 3rd, and then we'll give our 1st, and our 2nd will be the obvious, runner-up. So, all right.
You go first because I'm a little lost.
All right, well, we're going to be giving this is our 5th ranked game that we have played. Whew, this is a hard one. This is hard. Nostalgia runs deep. But I'm going to give the 5th place game Link's Awakening DX.
Wow. Wait,
Pat, what is your 5th ranked game?
did you just put it last? After saying it's the game you would suggest people play first?
I did.
I feel like
as a Zelda game,
you're a little all over the place. So
I'm putting it 5th.
I would put, I don't know. We're just doing this on the fly, whatever. I would put
Doing it on the fly.
the Legend of Zelda as number 5.
Okay. Number 4 from me would have to be how I'm feeling today. Link's The Adventure of Link. That would be number 4.
Oh crap! I forgot about Adventure of Link. Okay, so the Adventure of Link is
too late
definitely
now.
5, and
You can't change.
I'm changing it.
Those votes are locked in.
No, they're not.
They're locked in votes.
We're not even writing this. We don't even know what we said last season. So I'm gonna put The Adventure of Link at 10, 5 lower than the lowest, and I'm gonna put Link, The Legend of Zelda at 4. So Zelda 2 is 5, Zelda 1 is 4, and then
All right.
up next is the 3rd slot.
What do you got for the 3rd slot?
I'm gonna do Ocarina for the 3rd slot.
You're going to do Ocarina. I'm also going to do Ocarina for the 3rd slot.
Cool. And then I'll do A Link to the Past as the 2nd, and this is the 1st.
As the 2nd. Okay. I would do the original Legend of Zelda as my 2nd, and then Link to the Past as my 1st. That's how I'm feeling today.
I feel that. So on the timeline, right?
Ooh, deep cut here.
The Hyrule
Deep.
Historia timeline.
Yeah.
We got Skyward Sword, Minish Cap, 4 Swords, Ocarina of Time, and that's where the split happens. Right, the hero is defeated, and we go to A Link to the Past, where Ganon is revived.
Right.
Up next, we have the Oracle of Seasons and the Oracle of Ages. And after we leave wherever the heck we are in the Oracle of Seasons and Oracle of Ages, on our way back to Hyrule, that's when we capsize and we are brought into the Windfish's dream by, I think the Nightmare brought us there. I don't know. It's I don't know if it's explicit.
I'm sure there's like a theory video on YouTube that explains it all.
Yeah.
That we could have watched ahead of time, but
So yeah, if you want deep dives into all this stuff, again, go over to Sacred Realms.
not our podcast.
We got all that stuff, and maybe in the hiatus that we have coming up, we'll talk more about that. But we're here to play games and talk about playing them. So up next in this timeline on this strand is the Legend of Zelda, followed by the Adventure of Link, and that's
cool.
where this branch of the timeline ends. So after we come to on a little piece of wood, which really stresses me out, I gotta say, just floating around in the ocean on a tiny piece of wood after going through an island that then disappears, very stressful situation.
And I think this is the Link in the most amount of video games, because this is Link to the Past,
Yes.
and then he's in the Oracle games, which there are 2 of them,
2.
and then he's in this. So that's 4 games that this Link is in.
And 5, 6, because then he's in the Legend of Zelda and Adventure of Link.
No, that's a new Link.
Oh,
Because that Link is only like 8 years old.
I got you.
In that game. It's a new Link.
Yes, because the gold era where the monarchy of Hyrule is using the Triforce lasts for a while.
Right.
And we have a new Link reborn. Yeah, so this is the same Link in
From Link to the Past.
1, 2, 3, 4 games total. Wow.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very good. We're gonna hop over to the hero being successful with the Sacred Realm protected child era and play Majora's Mask next, which is a direct sequel to Ocarina of Time in the Hyrule Historia and in the franchise, which is really exciting.
Very exciting.
We've mentioned this before, but I've beaten Majora's Mask once with a friend in, I think, 28 hours.
I beat it once. It was, a decade and a half, maybe 2 decades ago. Not 2 decades, a decade and a half ago, probably. And yeah, just looking forward to playing it again.
Right. We're going to give the summer to all the other Zelda podcasts out there and stop taking up all their viewers. I know they could use them. And
definitely.
And we'll probably have some side quest episodes here and there like we like to do. And if we behave ourselves, we'll get invited onto Sacred Realms podcast here and there and do some other fun stuff. But we're hoping to get together and to play Majora's Mask in person mostly because we have so much fun playing these games in person.
Absolutely.
And until then, I hope everybody has a really fun time playing Tears of the Kingdom.
Tears of the Kingdom.
Feel free to reach out to us on Instagram or Twitter or Discord or whatever if you're picking up this game to play after we've recorded it, because we're hanging out, we're around, and we're always down to talk Zelda.
Always down to talk Zelda.
Well,
Patrick, this has been another season of
Hyrule Podcasters. Thanks, everybody. Peace. I get it. Thanks for listening to this episode of
Hyrule Podcasters.
Podcast of the Windfish.
An Odd Conduit Media production.
If you like what you're hearing and want to support us directly, you can head over to our Patreon page. We'd also love to see you in our Discord. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook at Hyrule Podcasters and on Twitter at Hyrule Podcaster.
As always, this episode was produced by Patrick, and we'd like to thank LT Headtrip for composing original music for the podcast, including our theme song.
If you want to play along, you can now find Link's Awakening DX via the Nintendo Switch Online Expansion Pack. You can also play on the Game Boy Color, and the 3DS via the Virtual Console. And while there are differences, the Link's Awakening HD remake for the Switch is a great way to play along too.
And be sure to rate and review us in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you happen to listen.
And action!
We did it.
Another season. I'm gonna go cry because we're done playing the game now.
Burn it. Burn, baby, burn. Mike, check. Well, now, don't you tell me to.
Smile.
You stick around, I make out what you like numbers beat, but you keep
dial.
Maybe it's because I'm so versatile. Smile.
Profile.
I said.
And that was just a back when I hear.
Oh, chow.
From the river out to the.
Now. To the very last mile. All right, stop recording.
My mic. Hey, okay.
No. We're one mic.
Odd Conduit Media.